All right, y'all. What's good with it, man? Dang, it sounds good. Maybe the settings are on point today. It's been a while, has it? I don't know. I don't know if you know, but your boy is hella OCD, man. Thank you, Grandma. So it's been a couple of days. Man, my style is really just hopping on here and chopping it up with y'all. The OG way of doing it. The OG way of doing it. And I've put a couple of videos out that where I'm reviewing other content, which is cool and all. I think I'll still do that if as long as it's relevant to what we're about over here and brings in today's topic. You often hear a lot. You often hear a lot of times in the self-development community about staying locked in. It's either locking in, focus, hustle mindset, all the above. You can insert your own here. I'm sure you've seen it, right? I think the way we all come across this particular content is we are trying and searching for different ways to elevate our lives, ourselves, elevate our lives. I used to think like in my early 20s, I was trying out a lot of different things as far as I don't know if we call them career paths or jobs. I'd probably say jobs. One particular job or gig I've had at the time was working security. I worked security while I was in the National Guard. And this is early on in the journey where I'm trying to get my hands on any bit of information that I could find. Like any bit of information. Didn't really matter what it was. Dabbled in watching some YouTube content at the time, mainly mainly motivational videos, mainly motivational videos, motivational speeches, like while I'm heading into work, while I'm at work, X, Y, and Z. You all heard the Les Browns, you've heard the if you've heard of ET, he goes by ET, the hip hop preacher, but we'll call him ET, Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar is a good one, man. And this is when I started first consuming podcasts. Actually, at the time, man, this is I probably say this is about 2017, 16, 20. Let's just say 2016 to about 20 2018 is I'll give that the window of where I really started consuming this particular content and information. And I thought all of it was very useful, very powerful, and extremely applicable to my life because at this time, you just you're still trying to find your footing. You're trying to find your footing not only um in life, but your career path. I know what you're gonna do for a living, how you plan on going about sustaining yourself financially, economically. It's something we all have to I don't want to say worry about. It's something we all have to be concerned with for sure. Without a doubt, I would say this is a huge part where the traditional school system lacks. Do I believe the school system should be teaching you any and everything? No. A lot of teaching should definitely come from at home. However, if you're going to be spending 8+ hours a day somewhere in an institution, organization, wherever it might be, if you're going to be spending 8+ hours a day there on a daily basis, 5 days a week, you think the things that you're learning should be actually applicable to life. I can't really recall all of the, I guess, useless information, man, that traditional school system, the traditional public school system occupies your time with. It's ridiculous, man. I know this isn't an audience, but show of hands, I'm pretty sure, and you can drop down in the comments too. I'm pretty sure we all, and if you haven't felt this way, you probably will. I'm pretty sure we all at some point felt like, what is the point? What's the point of it all? We've all sat in that math class like, some way, shape, or form. I don't know how, but I don't feel like this information right here that I'm sitting down, giving my complete, undivided, sometimes divided attention to, is going to help me out here in the real world. Now, let's be honest, let's be real. We're always looking, I'm always looking for that edge. What can really set me apart? What can set you apart from the rest? What you can do. I know I'm always looking for that edge. I'm sure if you found this video, you're always looking for that edge too. And around this time, when I actually just first started really picking up books and things like that, I implore everybody, man, especially if you maybe have kids and things like that too, get some books in front of them, man. Get some books in front of yourself. Begin to expand your mind. Fill your mind with different sorts of information that is going to add substantial value to your life. Now, obviously, before getting into it, you don't really know what that information is going to offer you completely. However, I'm pretty sure if you lead with that intention when it comes to seeking out knowledge and information, you're going to end up finding exactly what you're looking for. Seek and ye shall find. Boom. Boom. I know we all heard that one, right? Seek and ye shall find. You can consume all the information in the world. Maybe not all of it. You can spend a copious amount of time reading book after book after book. I'm telling you, man, if you don't plan on using or applying said information, 9 times out of 10, almost 10 times out of 10, you wasted your time. And it was completely pointless, right? And I say that to say this, man. Really, I just got a new addition to the. Hold on, let's see if we can get him on there. My boy's still healing, so I'm constantly being mindful of like where I'm leaving my elbow and my arm and things like that. But if you don't find a way to utilize information that you're consuming, it was almost a waste of time. And yes, there we go. I was saying that to say this. Life is interesting, one for one. Life is very interesting. And it's never ending in a way. Like if you operate at a level of peak curiosity almost always, you're never done learning. Like ever. Ever. At least as long as you're here, of course. As long as you're embodying this vessel, right? You will continue to learn something new. And I think that learning is almost an individual task in a way. Like, right, you can have teachers, you can have great professors, mentors, parents, things like that, coaches that can impart wisdom, knowledge, and their perspective on something upon you. However, I think until you've taken the time to synthesize said information, perspective, data yourself, all you did was you listened to something. You heard something told to you. It's not until you actually begin to think about what was said, to ask questions about what was said, to investigate what was said? Do you really begin to I guess maybe understand, not understand, but even words. That's a whole topic in itself. But until you begin to actually do the task, putting your mind to work, letting your curiosity work for you, basically become a scientist, you will almost spend most of your life just regurgitating something that someone else told to you or something that you heard. Do you get what I'm saying? And come on, forgive me, but man, there's just sometimes so much going on. I've always been like a naturally curious person. I'm going somewhere. I swear, I'm going somewhere. Maybe if I do this right here, it'll get the juices flowing. OCD kicking in here. Instant ashes. Demolished. Distractions are amongst us. They're all around us. I used to think that I used to think that watching or consuming mainstream media. I used to believe that consuming mainstream media content was a way that I felt informed. I used to consume mainstream media content mainly because it made me feel like an informed adult. Yeah. However, one thing I'll tell y'all is that most of it is all a psyop, man. Most of the things that you see in the mainstream media, most of the news reported on, news, what do you think news even stands for? Stands for or means, I guess, right? I would say 95% of it, 95% of it, man, you're not going to be able to do much with that information. If you're someone that I guess makes videos or reviews mainstream media content, or if you're somewhat of a pundit or correspondent for your own YouTube channel now, or if that's your desired career field, such as journalism, right? If if that's not your jig, if that's not your get up, I'm telling you, man, even with everything going on with the wars, you're not going to be able to do a lot with that information, that content. You know, I used to believe that watching it or consuming it made me an insightful individual, that it gave me a true insight to what was going on around the world and all this stuff, man. But I'll tell you one thing, that mass media outlets, it's all a psyop, dude. It's all a psyop. All of it's there to infiltrate your mind, your thoughts, implant messages, provide suggestive messaging, right? Because it seems like in the world today, we just live in one big ass echo chamber of the same birds chirping the same information, tweeting. I'm gonna pick this back up because we got to get into this. I'm gonna holler at you in a second.